How's it going? Welcome back to a very great video with the majestic host, the Savior. Yes, welcome back to a classic banger because we're going to be looking at Destiny 2 in 2024. This is the Destiny 2 2024 review. Basically everything that you need to know as a new player or as a returning player coming back to Destiny. Now we are at the final end game, pretty much, of Destiny 2. It's pretty insane that this game has managed to last this long. Destiny 2 and the Final Shape DLC is almost upon us, so I thought what better time than now to take a look at Destiny 2 in 2024. Let's be honest, okay, because sadly we have to accept most likely Halo is dead, okay, and Destiny is kind of the new Halo. And the reason why everyone loves this, because it has got a lot better, so much better, which I'm going to be talking about. It's done almost No Man's Sky levels of, upgrades and success. This game has just got better and better and better as time has gone on, and I have to give it massive props for that because I really respect any game devs that actually put in the work and make their games worthwhile. And the gaming industry has changed, like I've talked about before. We're now seeing games take much longer to be made, which is not a good thing. We should go back to the old era of like the PS2, PS3, Xbox 360 days when we made tighter games, ways to shill and to squeeze as much money out of the consumers as possible, live service games, microtransactions, early access, all of this modern day shit, okay? But the reason why we get all of this stuff is because games have a much bigger life cycle. And Destiny 2 is a prime example of that because this game has been out for quite a while now, but still we have a dedicated fan base and lots of new players returning. And I think a lot of people will be interested to check out the new Destiny 2 Final Shape DLC because this is the big kind of conclusion, the big finale, if you will. So this is a part of my yearly review series, which I do. If you want some information, go check out my channel trailer. I break down what this channel is about if you're new. And if you are new, which is quite likely, my friend, please do subscribe, okay? It only takes you 2 seconds of your time, but it means absolutely everything to me. Become a wise one, join this fantastic community. If you like game analysis and yearly reviews, philosophical content, you're in the right place. Subscribe, become a wise one, be a part of this great rising community. But now let's get into this Destiny 2 2024 review. I'm going to break it into positives and negatives. The first positive of this Destiny 2 2024 review has to be the gunplay, okay? Over the years, they've refined, they've polished the gunplay. Now it's buttery smooth, no bugs, nothing like that. So you've got a finished full experience here, which is worth jumping into. And the big positive is this is now free to play, okay? Which is massive. And of course, for DLCs and add-ons, you can get all of that stuff, which I'm sure many of you will, but still, you can just give this game a try. The gunplay is very similar to that of Halo. It's a little bit more slower paced and chunky and meaty, I would say, and it has some pretty great feedback when you just pop an enemy's head or break their shield. It's pretty good. I still prefer Halo's combat, but honestly, this is, as good. And a big positive is now, because there's so much content, okay, they've removed some of the early stuff because this has been going on for, a long time at this point, like 6 years or something. Basically, you can skip New Light, and that means you're gonna miss out on some of the grind. But trust me, that's a good thing, because if one thing that hasn't changed with Destiny 2 over the years is the fact that it is still a very much a grind fest, okay? And some people are gonna love that. I myself do not like that, but if you're looking for a meaty game to get into with loads of content, then Destiny 2 is for you. And sadly, Destiny 2 does have the hallmarks of a free-to-play live service game, okay? And when you hear those two things, it doesn't sound good. Modern gaming. But remember, the game has kind of evolved into that point. So it's still got the base core of a proper game underneath it, but it's got all of this modern day gaming trends in it now, which I personally do not like. So for example, when you first launch the game, you will get PTSD overload, okay? Because you will get bombarded with, oh, time to check out the new DLCs. maybe buy some lovely microtransactions. Oh, you remember Halo? You want to play with the Halo guns? Maybe just give us, just a little bit of money.
Wow.
Oh, you're a new player, what do you want to do first? Because we have now like 50 billion different game modes for you to try. And obviously that's not a bad thing, there's lots of content here which is good, which I'll talk about, but for new people, it is a little bit overwhelming because there's so much shit and it just bombards you, okay? And it reminds me of like, if you've ever played a Fallout game when you've got all the DLC installed, like Fallout New Vegas or Fallout 3, when you first step out of the main area, you just get this constant messages. It's a little bit obnoxious and it's a sad day if gaming does continue down this road instead of making, curated creative experiences like I talked about back in the older era of gaming when it was about creative ideas, innovation, and trusting the developers to create something, not so much just chasing trends for the most money possible and, basically pleasing their shareholders, okay? It was about new and innovative ideas each and every single game with a shorter life cycle, and sadly Destiny 2 has fallen into that live service hellhole trap slightly, but luckily there's good enough content here to just justify it, and if that stuff doesn't bother you, then that's good, but if it does, there's still enough content here to justify the annoyances. Did you subscribe like I asked you to? I hope you did, because the Wise One community is unstoppable. Like I said, please do join this community. And before we get into the main points and highlights of this Destiny 2 review, I will just quickly say, please do consider dropping a small donation or joining my Patreon down below, as this video is not sponsored. And I just have a quick message for anyone watching, any of the Wise Ones as well, or if you're a new viewer. I recently left my job to pursue YouTube full-time because I'm insane and it's very, very risky, but I'm so passionate about what I'm doing. I've been building up this community for 4 years now and I just love every single second of it. Even if it is a lot of hard work, I really do care about what I'm doing and the community here. So please do maybe consider supporting me by dropping a small donation, a thank you, or going to my PayPal. I would appreciate it a lot. And if you want to join the live community, I've recently started live streaming from 8 to 12 JST time, Japanese Standard Time, every single day, Monday to Friday, so make sure you join that community. So now let's get into the main positives and negatives of this Destiny 2 review, okay? And for new people, I honestly think it will be worth it because, like I said, it is free to play. If you want to jump into the DLC, if you find yourself enjoying the experience, then that's always available to you. And I will talk about the DLC, the newest one, because that adds the most that we've seen in any DLC, I would say, because it is the final one. But honestly, Destiny 2 is just a fun time, okay? Especially with buddies. I wouldn't recommend playing this solo. And I just love the fact that they have continued to add to it. Destiny 2 is a beautiful game, okay? Bungie have always been amazing at creating a unique and vibrant, kind of desolate world, futuristic, hard sci-fi landscapes. And their art style just never ceases to amaze me. Destiny 2 now has so many beautiful locations to explore, and you can get super immersed if you play, without a HUD and just soak in the atmosphere. And before, it felt very rinse and repeat. You get on your little hover bike, you go to the destination, you shoot a bunch of enemies, rinse and repeat. And to a degree, Destiny 2 has stayed the same, but now there's so much more content, so there's so much more variation, so you can truly get immersed in a game. If you want a game that has so much content that you can play with others, then I think Destiny 2 has you covered. So now, build variation is a proper thing. When it first released, it was a little bit bare bones, almost stripped back compared to the first Destiny, but now there is so much build variation and class deviation and variation, so I really like that. And with the new DLCs, and especially this one coming, like the location of the Pale Heart, there are so many unique locations to discover, and although this isn't exactly a exploration type game, it still feels like you're exploring new locations, and that keeps the combat from getting old because, like I said, it is mostly just a looter shooter, and if you like that type of game, then I think you're definitely gonna love Destiny 2. And finally, with the final Shape DLC, yes, that's a bad pun intended, okay, there's actually new enemies, okay? There's a new faction included, finally, in Destiny 2, so you will be fighting unique enemy types, and that keeps it, again, from getting old, but if you're just coming into this new, there are so many different enemy types in this game, and lots of challenging bosses, so many different modes you can engage with now. And what I like is it's finally broken up that monotonous kind of, low IQ grunt gamer gameplay, no offense, where you just go to a location and you shoot a bunch of enemies, because if you're not shooting things, you're not having fun. But I like that finally there are different playstyles for different people, okay? You can make it a hardcore experience of, going in fighting big dangerous bosses, making it even harder for yourself depending on the raid and stuff like that, the dungeons, or you can have it a more slow paced kind of, go there, clear out some enemies, but actually do some objectives along the way, not just scan a bunch of shit, but actually solve puzzles, work together, and communicate. So Destiny 2 has definitely improved a lot in that department. And I like that now you actually have to think about the enemies that you're fighting, because some will stun lock you, some you actually really need to get down quickly before it affects your whole group. The story is, of course, trying to appeal to the masses, so it can't be that interesting, it can't have any deep, underpinnings or interesting ideas with its themes, but the lore itself is interesting if you want to dig deep into that. And I know a lot of people who do enjoy Destiny lore, which is fair enough, but the story that's actually being delivered to you in the game, the voice acting, the delivery, all of that kind of stuff, it wasn't for me, but maybe you'll like it. Getting exotic weapons and, having a good loot drop never seems to get old, and that's something that most looter shooters can't really say for themselves. It doesn't really feel like a free-to-play game, which I like, of course, and that sense of progression never really stops. Okay, you feel like whatever you're doing, even if you're just hunting basically a trash mob, it still feels like you're doing something useful for your character, which I appreciate. And then let's talk about the big positive, okay? Because they've added so much stuff to this content. It's not the same game cycle that it used to be. So of course you get strikes, and that's where you fight a whole bunch of enemies, and then until the big boss appears. Yes, the big boss. And then you actually have to think tactically about how to take out this boss, because they're not all the same bullet sponges anymore. Raids, which is if you want more objective-based gameplay, which I would highly recommend. It's a little bit more thought-provoking. And then, of course, we have the dungeons as well. And I like that they finally mixed it up with traps, puzzles, just a lot more gameplay variation. And if you don't like that type of thing and you just want a kind of Halo PvP type experience, you can also have that within Destiny 2. And like I said, even if you're playing the same class as one of your buddies, the build variation now is pretty extensive. So it does have that kind of solid RPG light build variation in the game now, so everyone can feel like they're, bringing something unique to the battlefield, which I appreciate. Honestly, they've just added a lot to this game, and it's surprising that it's lasted this long. The life cycle is kind of coming towards the end now, so I think it's worth praising it, because Destiny 1 had some good ideas, but it didn't really know what to do with it. Destiny 2 felt kind of the same, but finally, after years and years of adding to it, I feel like they finally made, a complete package experience. And although it does have some of the modern gaming trends, which I don't appreciate, I can't deny that the full package finally is good, and it's polished. And if you enjoy that type of experience, then you will definitely have fun with Destiny 2. And with the new DLC coming, you can also play as a new subclass. So for diehard fans of Destiny, you might have already known all of this stuff, but still, there is new stuff being added to the game, and whole new locations that are very interesting, and new enemy types, all that kind of stuff. So I think it's definitely worth it for new players, which is what this video is mostly for. So is Destiny 2 worth it in 2024? I would say it is. And it's kind of a weird question when people ask, is Destiny 2 worth it? Because it's actually free to play, so there's no harm in giving it a try, I would say. And I do hope this Destiny 2 2024 review helped. Maybe you weren't sure about it, and maybe you just wanted to try the final life cycle of Destiny 2. It's nice that the art form of gaming can offer deep, meaningful experiences, interacting with a digital landscape, interacting with the art form itself, but then you can also have experiences like Destiny 2, which I'm not saying, it's just shallow, dumb gameplay, but it is the type of game that you can just switch off your brain and have a blast with. So that is what Destiny 2 is all about, and I do hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, like I said, please do like the video, subscribe if you're new, and consider helping me out with a donation, because that would mean a lot. And I'll be seeing you in the next video. Have a great day. Peace out.